Hello, my dear friends. In good news, Charlotte has finally got a microphone. So let's hope the audio quality is slightly better this time around when we read Robert Frost in the Dark. Why in the dark, you say? Well, why not? Which is my answer. Bond and Free, the first poem of tonight. Love has earth to which she clings, with hills and circling arms about, wall within, wall to shut fear out. But thought has need of no such things, for thought has a pair of dauntless wings. On snow and sand and turf I see where love has left a printed trace, with straining in the world's embrace. And such is love, and glad to be, but thought has shaken his ankles free. Thought cleaves the interstellar gloom, and sits in Sirius's disk all night, till the day makes him retrace his flight, with smell of burning on every plume, back past the sun to an earthly room. His gains in heaven are what they are, yet some say love by being thrall and simply staying possesses all. In several beauty that thought fares far to find fused in another star. That was a very beautiful poem. I'd never read that before, and that is absolutely stunning. I'm going to make a confession now, and that is that I haven't read this entire book of Robert Frost yet. It's stunning. I think I've done a few of them, a few sections, but I never got around to it, which is a sin in and of itself. However, today what we're going to do is we're going to simply open a random page and we're going to read from here. And this one is page 313, The Bearer of Evil Tidings. Okay. The bearer of evil tidings, when he has halfway there, remembered that evil tidings were a dangerous thing to bear. So when he came to the parting where one road led to the throne, and one went off to the mountains and into the wild unknown, he took the one to the mountains, he ran through the vale of Kashmir, he ran through the rhododendrons, till he came to the land of Pamir. And there in the precipice valley, a girl of his age he met, took him home to her bower, or he might be running yet. She taught him her tribe's religion, how, ages and ages since, a princess en route from China to marry a Persian prince had been found with child, and her army had come to a troubled halt. And though a god was the father and nobody else at fault, it had seemed discreet to remain there and neither go on nor back. So they stayed and declared a village there in the land of the Yak. And the child that came from the princess established a royal line, and his mandates were given heed, because he was born divine. And that was why there were people on one Himalayan shelf, and the bearer of evil tidings decided to stay there himself. At least he had this in common with the race he chose to adopt. They had both of them had their reasons for stopping where they had stopped. As for his evil tidings, Belshazzar's overthrow, why hurry to tell Belshazzar what soon enough he would know? The thing I find really interesting about Robert Frost, this is a bit of a side note, he has a very strong motif of stopping and starting again. So in that second last stanza, he says, for stopping where they had stopped. It's very much like stopping it by Snowy Woods, which is a very iconic poem of his. That hesitancy to continue on, not just with the narrative of the poem, but also just with life, with the continuing on with the poem itself. He has this really brilliant description, both metapoetically and within the text itself, on what it means to hesitate. It's like you're on the precipice. He used the word precipice before. You're on the precipice of beginning something new or ending something quite abruptly. And he's very good at doing that. Okay, let's find another one. Pea brush. I walked down alone Sunday after church to the place where John had been cutting trees. To see for myself about the birch, he said I could have to bush my peas. The sun in the new cut narrow gap was hot enough for the 1st of May, and stifling hot with the odour of sap from stumps still bleeding their life away. The frogs that were peeping 1,000 shrill wherever the ground was low and wet. The minute they heard my step went still to watch me and see what I came to get. Birch boughs enough piled everywhere, all fresh and sound from the recent axe. Time someone came with cart and pair and got them off the wildflowers' backs. They might be good for garden things to curl a little finger round, the same as you sees cats cradle strings, and lift themselves up off the ground. Small good to anything growing wild, they were cooking many a trillium that had been budded before the boughs were piled, and since it was coming up, had to come. He really is a master of natural imagery, isn't he? And the thing that's interesting is he'll usually oscillate between A-B rhyme, so every second line rhymes, and then sometimes he'll use 3 lines that rhyme, and then the last line doesn't rhyme with anything to place emphasis on the concept that he's placed there. Very deliberate and purposeful. It's good when you're learning how to write in rhyme, to read brilliant poets like Frost that use very deceptively simple rhyming schemes to demonstrate their key aspects or key concepts. Okay, let's do this roulette again. Let's go right at the beginning. Oh, I got right at the middle of a poem. Let's try again. And we're back. Sorry, my phone ran out of battery there. So I was just saying, I don't know when this cut off, but we opened up to this page, which is a passing glimpse to Ridgely Torrance on last looking into his Hesperides. I often see flowers from a passing car that are gone before I can tell what they are. I want to get out of the train and go back to see what they were beside the track. I name all the flowers I am sure they weren't. Not firewood loving where woods have burnt. Not bluebells gracing a tunnel mouth. Not lupin living on sand and drouth. With something brushed across my mind that no one on earth will ever find. Heaven gives its glimpses only to those not in position to look too close. Beautiful. Okay, shall we read A Peck of Gold or Acceptance? That's on the next page. Perhaps both. I think both would be good. A peck of gold, dust always blowing about the town, except when sea fog laid it down. And I was one of the children told some of the blowing dust was gold. All the dust the wind blew high appeared like gold in the sunset sky. But I was one of the children told some of the dust was really gold. Such was life in the Golden Gate, gold dusted all we drank and ate. And I was one of the children told we all must eat our speck of gold. Acceptance. When the spent sun throws up its rays on cloud and goes down burning into the gulf below, no voice in nature is heard to cry aloud at what has happened. Birds at least must know it is the change to darkness in the sky. murmuring something quiet in her breast. One bird begins to close a faded eye, or overtaken too far from his nest. Hurrying low above the grove, some waif swoops just in time to his remembered tree. At most he thinks or twitters softly, "Safe! Now let the night be dark for all of me. Let the night be too dark for me to see into the future. Let what will be, be." It's wonderful how he oscillates between hesitancy and acceptance, isn't it? Because he'll, in a lot of his poems, he'll describe hesitating, whether before we saw getting off and on the train again, you know, to verify whether he'd actually seen a flower or not. And then in this one, we have the hesitancy almost of acceptance, but then this very brave bird, who I'm supposing is supposed to be allegorical, didactically telling us to accept life just as it is, accept fate and destiny just as it is, without hesitation, I suppose. Okay, let's do another few. Where shall our fingers take us this time? Our hold on the planet. We asked for rain. It didn't flash or roar. It didn't lose its temper at our demand and blow a gale. It didn't misunderstand and give us more than our spokesman bargained for. And just because we owned to wish for rain, send us a flood and bid us be damned and drown, it gently threw us a glittering shower down. And when we had taken that into the roots of grain, it threw us another and then another still, till the spongy soil again was natal wet. We may doubt the just proportion of good to ill. There is much in nature against us, but we forget. Take nature altogether since time began, including human nature, in peace and war, and it must be a little more in favour of man, say a fraction of 1% at the very least, or our own number living couldn't be steadily more. Our hold on the planet wouldn't have so increased. That's a beautiful one. That poem is a really good example of how poetry should, a lot of the time, be read out loud. Of course, you can read it in your head very beautifully, and that's wonderful too. But there's some phrases that poets will put in that's just so beautiful to speak and to listen to. If we have a listen, the word sibilance means a repetition of the S sound. And then you have natal wet as well, where you've got that T sound as well. So, till the spongy soil again was natal wet. It just falls off the tongue and it creates beautiful rhythm. Okay, the poem on this page that's below is To a Young Wretch. I perhaps shall skip that one for now, and we shall pick one last one instead, perhaps from the end. I went to the appendix. That's too far. Still on the appendix. And my camera died again. Okay, so let's do this last one, which I've just opened up to, which is Revelation. We make ourselves a place apart, behind light words that tease and flout. But oh, the agitated heart till someone really finds us out. 'Tis pity if the case require, or so we say, that in the end we speak the literal to inspire the understanding of a friend. But so withal from babes that play at sire, hide and seek, to God afar. So all who hide too well away must speak and tell us where they are. And that is Robert Frost in the Dark. Thank you.